Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the allure and, honestly, the harsh reality of custom, de-bloated Windows 11 operating systems. So if you've ever felt like your PC is bogged down by a bunch of stuff you just never asked for, well, you're definitely in the right place. Okay, let's dive into this. On one side, we have standard Windows 11. It's incredibly feature-rich, sure, but it often feels kind of sluggish, just bloated with background services you're probably never going to use. But on the other side, we have this tantalizing promise of a lightning-fast, stripped-down custom OS. We're literally talking about the dream of squeezing totally free performance out of your existing hardware just by hacking away the software fat. Here's a quick look at our roadmap today. 1. The Windows bloat problem. 2. Atlas OS from Maximum Gaming. 3. Tiny 11, RiviOS, and Ghost Spectre. 4. How deep loading boosts speed. 5. Hidden dangers and security risks. And finally, 6. Enterprise solutions. Let's jump right into Section 1, the Windows bloat problem, and why users are so frustrated. 41. That is the staggering number of pre-installed apps that come with standard Windows 11 right out of the box. We're talking about everything from Clipchamp to Solitaire, and they're eating up over 30 gigabytes of your storage space on a fresh install. Modern Windows 11 is packed with heavy background services, telemetry, and features that, honestly, a lot of users just don't want or need for their daily tasks. It's a massive footprint, especially if you're trying to maximize your system's efficiency. Moving right along to Section 2. Atlas OS for Maximum Gaming, stripping the system bare. So, why use Atlas OS instead of a normal Windows 11? Well, because it's specifically engineered for enthusiasts to eliminate those built-in Windows drawbacks that drag down gaming performance and cause input lag. So how exactly does this work step by step? Unlike some other options out there, Atlas OS cleverly modifies your existing installation rather than distributing a pre-modified ISO file. First, you just install a standard Windows 11 on your machine. Second, you run a tool called the AME Wizard. And third, you apply the Atlas Playbook. This open-source script automatically goes to work literally stripping out the Windows components you don't need right before your eyes. And to achieve that free performance, Atlas OS goes to some extreme lengths. To free up resources, it completely removes Windows Defender. It strips out the automatic Windows Update service. It disables user account control, or UAC, turns off all telemetry, and even removes basic maintenance tasks like defrag scheduling. It's a completely bare-bones approach. All right, Section 3. Tiny 11, RiviOS, and Ghost Spectre, taking a look at the custom ISO landscape. Now, while Atlas OS modifies an existing system, these other players take a totally different route. They treat each as a distinct custom ISO option for different hardware needs. Let's take a look at how they stack up. Tiny 11, you install the old-fashioned way, through a custom ISO you download and boot from. It excels at saving disk space, using just 15.7 gigabytes and leaving only 10 pre-installed apps. But look at the background processes. Tiny 11 still runs about 120 of them. RiviOS and Atlas OS, on the other hand, aggressively cut those background tasks down to 81 and 76, respectively. So you might choose Tiny 11 if you're installing on, say, a really old, space-constrained laptop. But you definitely lean towards Atlas or RiviOS if raw processing power and gaming frame rates are your ultimate goal. We also definitely need to briefly highlight Ghost Spectre. This custom mod offers distinct variants, like Compact, Superlight, and a Superlight Special Edition. It's heavily focused on a very fast installation time, and it appeals strongly to users who want a gaming-focused unofficial mod right out of the gate. Which brings us to Section 4, How Debloating Boosts Speed, the actual mechanics of free performance. To really understand the why behind the performance gains of these custom systems, we have to look at resource availability. The difference in background tasks is pretty stark. On a stock Windows 11 machine, you might have around 125 background processes running while you are literally just staring at your desktop doing nothing. RiviOS drops that to 81, and Atlas OS slashes it all the way down to just 76. The absolute crucial point here is the logic of resource availability. By shutting down that background bloat, your system doesn't have to constantly context switch between a telemetry service, a weather widget, and, your actual demanding applications. Fewer background processes directly free up critical CPU cycles and disk I/O. And this translates directly to lower RAM usage at idle and, most importantly, higher and much more consistent frame rates when you're gaming. However, we need to make a sharp pivot here. Section 5. Hidden dangers and security risks, the dark side of custom OSs.
The pursuit of speed comes at a very steep and potentially disastrous price. YouTuber Chris Titus Tech reviewed an automated debloat script and described it as cool and scary as hell at the same time. And we really have to lean into that stark quote. We have to recognize the sheer danger of letting a script or some custom unverified ISO completely delete core Windows security components. There is no easy undo button for this.
Let's break down these severe cybersecurity vulnerabilities. When you use closed-source, unverified, custom ISOs downloaded from obscure forums, you are introducing the massive risk of botnets or rootkits being baked right into the installation itself. Furthermore, by intentionally missing Windows Defender, killing automatic security updates, stripping out logging, and disabling virtualization-based security, you are essentially leaving your front door wide open. Ask yourself, is a 5% drop in CPU usage really worth having zero defense against malware?
So, how do professionals actually do it? Section 6. Enterprise Solutions. Safe alternatives to custom ISOs. You see, businesses hate bloatware just as much as gamers do, but they handle it safely without compromising their network security. It's a stark contrast. On one side, you have the consumer wild west of dangerous rogue custom ISOs, and on the other, you have the structured, verifiable methods provided natively by Microsoft and utilized through enterprise deployment policies. IT administrators use tools like Microsoft Intune and mobile device management to deploy app removal policies. They can basically instruct a Windows 11 enterprise machine to dynamically block apps like Xbox or Copilot right at user sign-in. This successfully stops the bloatware from ever loading during provisioning. And the real beauty of it is, it doesn't break the core operating system or compromise security updates to do it. And for the absolute ultimate official lightweight Windows, there is Windows 11 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2024. This specialized version offers up to 10 years of security updates with absolutely zero consumer feature bloat. It's designed for critical systems like medical devices or ATMs, so it offers pure stability, legacy compatibility, and no forced feature updates for a decade. It's essentially the holy grail of a clean Windows environment, and it is entirely sanctioned by Microsoft. Which brings us to our final provocative thought for this explainer. Is the pursuit of a few extra frames per second really worth handing over the keys to your cybersecurity? It's a choice between the allure of unchained performance and the very real necessity of digital safety. Seriously consider the true cost of custom debloating before you install anything. Thank you so much for joining me, and keep learning.